Have you ever looked around and felt like the world was slowly stepping away from you? Maybe your phone doesn't ring as often, your friends don't visit like they used to, or conversations with loved ones feel shorter, even distant. It's a quiet shift, and at first you might brush it off. But deep down it hurts because you know you still have so much life to give, so much wisdom to share, and so much love in your heart. The truth is, aging can feel lonely, not because you've changed, but because the way people interact with you begins to change. And here's something few people say out loud sometimes without realizing it. We develop habits that gently push others away. This video isn't here to judge or criticize. It's here to help to shine a gentle light on 6 subtle behaviors that might be creating distance between you and the people you care about. More importantly, we'll talk about how to turn those habits around with kindness, self-awareness, and dignity. Because you deserve connection. You deserve to be seen, heard, and respected, not in spite of your age, but because of the life you've lived. If you believe in creating stronger relationships and living with purpose after 70, please support this message by liking this video, sharing it with someone you care about, and subscribing to our channel Senior Wellness, where growing older means growing wiser, not invisible. Becoming too negative about everything. As we grow older, it's natural to carry the weight of all we've lived through, the joys and the struggles alike. By the time you reach your 70s, you've seen a lot. Health concerns, financial worries, changes in family dynamics, and the feeling that the world is moving too fast. It's all real. And your experiences matter. Your feelings are valid. But here's something that's often hard to notice in ourselves when every conversation starts to revolve around what's wrong, the aches, the disappointments, the frustrations. People may begin to distance themselves. Not because they don't care, but because they feel emotionally drained. Think about it for a moment. When you talk with your children or friends, do your words often lead with complaints? Do you find yourself saying, "Nothing's like it used to be," or "Everything's getting worse"? While those statements may come from a place of honesty, repeating them too often can make others associate your presence with heaviness instead of warmth. Let's be clear. No one expects you to pretend everything is perfect. Life isn't always easy. But finding a little space in the conversation for gratitude, humor, or curiosity can make all the difference. A lighthearted memory, a funny observation, or even a compliment can gently shift the tone. Take Mr. Thompson, for example. At 74, he found himself feeling more isolated than usual. He later realized that many of his visits with family turned into long sessions of venting about politics, pain, and how things used to be. When he began to balance those thoughts with simple joys like asking his grandson about school or sharing a recipe, he remembered he noticed a change. People stayed longer. They smiled more. This small shift isn't about ignoring your reality. It's about sharing your truth in a way that welcomes others in. It's about connection, and connection is at the heart of senior living. If you catch yourself starting a sentence with frustration, take a moment. Ask, is this what I want to leave in someone's heart today? If not, consider softening it or pairing it with something hopeful. That one small change can make conversations feel lighter and leave people feeling better after being with you. Your voice matters. And when it's shared with kindness, even tough truths can bring people closer. At Senior Wellness, we believe that aging gracefully means not only caring for our bodies, but also for our relationships. Sharing wisdom is powerful, but sharing it with grace, that's what leaves a legacy. And remember, if your feelings of sadness or frustration feel overwhelming or persistent, it's always a good idea to talk with your doctor or a mental health professional. Emotional health is just as important as physical health, and both deserve care. Giving unwanted advice or criticism. One of the greatest gifts of aging is the wisdom we carry, earned through decades of living, learning, and overcoming life's many ups and downs. You've seen trends come and go. You've made mistakes and watched others make theirs. Naturally, you want to help the people you love avoid pain, disappointment, or regret. That desire comes from a good place, from love. But sometimes the way we share that wisdom can unintentionally push others away. When advice is given without being asked for, it can come across as judgment, not guidance. Especially with younger generations, your adult children or grandchildren. What feels like helpful advice to you may sound like criticism to them. Whether it's about how they manage their finances, raise their kids, or run their households, unsolicited opinions can feel like disapproval. And this isn't just about family. It happens in friendships too. A comment like, "You really should eat better," or "You need to stop spending so much," might come from concern, but it may land as unwanted correction. Over time, if people start to associate conversations with you as full of shoulds and ought tos, they may begin to pull away, not out of anger, but out of emotional exhaustion. Let's take the story of Ms. Evelyn. At 76, she loved offering advice, but she noticed her granddaughter stopped sharing personal stories. Her close friend who used to visit weekly began calling less often. Evelyn realized that her words, though well-intended, often came before being invited. When she paused and started asking first, "Would you like my thoughts on that?" people opened up again. They felt respected, not corrected. This small change, asking before advising, makes a world of difference. Instead of saying, "You shouldn't be doing that," you might try, "I've been through something similar. Would it help to hear what I learned?" If they say yes, wonderful. If they say no, that's okay too. Trust that they'll return when they're ready. Sharing wisdom is beautiful, but senior wisdom teaches us that timing, tone, and trust matter just as much as the message itself. At Senior Wellness, we often talk about how relationships are built not only on love, but on mutual respect. Offering advice from a place of patience instead of pressure helps you stay connected, not avoided. And remember, if you ever feel unsure whether to speak up, it's okay to pause. You can always return to the moment later, with kindness, humility, and a listening ear. Relationships at this stage of life are precious. When you lead with curiosity, not correction, they flourish. Refusing to adapt to change. One of the quiet shifts that can create distance in our relationships, especially as we grow older, is our willingness or unwillingness to adapt to change. Change can feel uncomfortable. After all, you've spent decades building habits, values, and ways of living that made sense and served you well. So when the world around you moves quickly, when technology evolves, when traditions shift, when younger people speak and think differently, it's understandable to feel out of step. But here's the truth: when every conversation turns into a comparison between then and now, or when new ideas are dismissed before being understood, others may begin to feel unheard or even judged. Over time, that can quietly push them away. It doesn't mean you need to love every trend or agree with everything that's new. It simply means being open. A willingness to say, "Tell me more," instead of "That's not how it used to be," can build bridges instead of walls. Take Mr. Albert, for example. He's 78 and proud of his routines. But when his grandkids tried to show him how to use video calls, he refused. "What happened to just talking on the phone?" he asked. Slowly they stopped calling, not out of disrespect, but because they didn't know how to include him. One day, Albert decided to try. With some help, he learned to video chat. And soon those calls turned into laughter, shared memories, and more connection than he'd felt in years. At Senior Living, we often remind ourselves that staying connected means meeting others where they are, even if that means learning something new. When you keep an open heart and a curious mind, you stay part of the conversation. Whether it's understanding new music, trying a different way of communicating, or simply being open to changing perspectives, you show others that you care about, staying present in their world, not just yours. This kind of openness isn't about giving up who you are. It's about growing with grace, staying relevant, and showing others that your wisdom includes not just what you know, but your willingness to keep learning. At Senior Wellness, we believe aging doesn't mean getting left behind. It means continuing to walk forward with understanding, flexibility, and heart. And if adapting to change feels overwhelming at times, that's okay. You don't have to figure it all out alone. Asking for help, taking small steps, or simply listening with curiosity, these are all signs of strength, not weakness. Change is part of life, and when you meet it with compassion, you remain deeply connected to yourself and to the people who matter most. Expecting too much from others, without giving back. As we grow older, our needs often increase, and that's perfectly natural. We might need more help with errands, more emotional support, or simply more time and attention from those we love. But one of the most common reasons relationships quietly shift after 70 is when others begin to feel like we're asking more than we're giving. This doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It just means there may be an imbalance, a pattern that slowly develops, when we expect others to always show up, call first, visit often, or take care of things without realizing how much that effort means to them. Think of it this way: people are usually happy to help, especially family and close friends. But when appreciation fades and expectations rise, even the most loving people can begin to feel stretched or worse, taken for granted. Consider the story of Ms. Lillian, age 80. Her daughter used to visit weekly help with groceries and spend time talking about life. Over time, Lillian found herself expecting that routine. When her daughter missed a visit or didn't call, Lillian felt disappointed, but she rarely asked her how she was doing or thanked her for her time. Eventually, those visits became less frequent, not out of malice, but because the relationship had started to feel one-sided. The truth is, relationships at any age need balance, even if we can't offer the same level of support. We once did. There are always small ways to give back: a kind word, a handwritten note, a thoughtful check-in, or simply asking, "How are you holding up?" At Senior Wellness, we believe that true connection comes from mutual respect and shared care. Whether you're offering emotional warmth, wisdom, or just sincere gratitude, those little gestures go a long way in making others feel valued, not obligated. You don't have to do everything. But showing that you notice the effort others make and that you appreciate it helps keep relationships strong, kind, and lasting. If you find yourself waiting for a call, a visit, or a favor, take a moment to reflect. Have you thanked them recently? Have you asked about their needs? Even just listening with genuine interest can be a beautiful way to give back. As part of a mindful senior living approach, giving and receiving should feel like a gentle rhythm, not a one-way expectation. And if you're unsure how to rebuild that balance, start with something simple: a thank you, a "How are you?" or even a small act of kindness. These are the things people remember. These are the things that bring hearts closer. Your presence matters. And when it's paired with appreciation, it becomes a gift not just to you, but to everyone around you. Bringing up the past too often. Memories are treasures, the stories we carry, the moments that shaped us, and the people who made our lives meaningful. But one habit that can unintentionally create distance with others, especially after 70, is living too often in the past. It's comforting to recall the good old days, to share what life used to be like, and to relive experiences that still feel close to the heart. And you absolutely should share those stories; they matter. But when every conversation circles back to the same memories, and when present-day topics are met with back-in-my-day comparisons, it can leave others, especially younger generations, feeling disconnected. It's not that they don't care, it's just that they want to feel like you're present with them now, not only reliving who you once were. Take Mr. Henry 79. He was full of wonderful stories from his youth, his military service, his first job, and the day he met his wife. But he didn't realize that he repeated the same tales over and over, often interrupting others to do so. His grandson, once eager to visit, started coming by less often. When Henry asked why, the young man gently explained, "I love your stories, Grandpa, but I also want you to know me. Talk with me, not just at me." That moment changed everything. Henry began asking more questions, showing interest in his grandson's world, his studies, his music, his future plans. Their bond grew stronger, not by forgetting the past, but by balancing it with the present. At Senior Wellness, we honor your life stories. They are your legacy. But we also believe that every day offers new opportunities to connect, to learn, and to grow, even in small ways. If you catch yourself repeating a story, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, have I shared this already? If so, consider asking the other person about something in their life. You might be surprised at what you learn, and how that shared curiosity deepens your relationship. And if you feel the urge to compare the past with the present, try adding a bridge instead of a wall. For example, that reminds me of something we did years ago, but I'd love to hear how you're doing it now. The goal isn't to forget the past, it's to make room for the present. That balance is what keeps conversations engaging and relationships alive. As part of a mindful senior living journey, it's about honoring where you've been while still walking forward with heart curiosity and connection. Your memories are golden, but your presence, your interest, your attention, your warmth is what others will cherish most today. Not respecting boundaries and personal space. One of the most important lessons in relationships at any age is understanding and respecting personal boundaries. As we grow older, it's easy to forget that even those closest to us still need space, privacy, and autonomy. And when those unspoken boundaries are crossed too often, the result can be quiet distance. It doesn't always happen on purpose. Sometimes it's just the desire to stay connected, to feel close, or to be part of someone's world. But if we expect loved ones to always answer the phone right away, to respond immediately to messages, or to welcome unannounced visits, we may unintentionally overwhelm them. This can also show up in more subtle ways: asking too many personal questions, pressing for details that someone isn't ready to share, or sharing our own feelings so frequently that it leaves little room for theirs. Let's look at a familiar example. Ms. Clara, 81, had always been close with her niece. She often called, sometimes several times a day, and dropped by without notice. Over time, her niece became less responsive. Clara felt hurt, thinking she was being ignored. But when they finally sat down and talked, her niece gently explained, "I love you, but I need space too. Sometimes I'm busy or just need quiet." That moment was eye-opening for Clara. She hadn't realized how her good intentions were becoming a source of pressure. From that day forward, she gave her niece more room, and their bond actually grew stronger. At Senior Wisdom, we know that connection is vital to well-being. but connection thrives when it's rooted in mutual respect. Respecting boundaries doesn't mean distancing yourself emotionally. It means noticing when someone needs a moment to breathe a little more privacy, or the freedom to share on their own terms. If someone seems hesitant, distracted, or slower to respond, try not to take it personally. Instead, ask kindly, "Is this a good time, or would you like to talk later?" These small gestures show that you're thinking of them, but also honoring their space. And when someone does set a boundary, like needing alone time or choosing not to discuss something private, respond with grace. That respect builds trust, and trust keeps relationships strong. In senior living, honoring personal space is part of healthy, lasting relationships. It reminds others that you care not just about being heard, but also about hearing them fully and without pressure. And when you share your own stories, frustrations, or emotions, check in first. Ask if they have the energy to listen. This thoughtful approach creates space for both people, a gentle rhythm of giving and receiving. Your presence matters. And when it's paired with respect, patience, and awareness, it becomes not just welcome, but cherished. Growing older doesn't mean fading away. In fact, it's a time to grow deeper in wisdom, in connection, and in compassion. If you've recognized yourself in any of these 6 habits, know this awareness is powerful. With even the smallest shift in how we listen, speak, or show up for others, we can renew our relationships and enrich our daily lives. You still have so much to offer: your kindness, your stories, your presence, and the world still needs you just as you are. If today's message touched your heart, we invite you to join us on this journey of reflection and growth. Subscribe to Senior Wellness for more gentle insights. Give this video a like if it helped you see things differently. And if you feel moved, leave a comment below. We'd love to hear what resonated with you most. Thank you for being here. You matter more than you know.